Hey, look out. It's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
Jonathan Munson is with us. He's the executive director of Right from the Heart. And we've had Bryant on for years and George, actually, many, many times. We just want to say we love all you guys over there. We think you're doing an amazing job. And welcome. I've got something I want to talk to you about Easter. I thought the Easter television spots were off the charts. They were awesome. But Jonathan, how are you?
I'm doing just fine. It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you much.
Executive Director, I think you mentioned before we started since May of 2020? When was that?
July of 2020.
Right. Yeah.
So that's right. I landed here right kind of in the middle of COVID and navigating transition during that time. It was an exciting ride. I'll say that.
Yeah. I think we've all learned a lot from that particular ride. Let me talk to you a little bit about Easter, and we want to find out what you guys are working on and what's coming up from Right from the Heart. I watch Channel 11 historically since moving back to Atlanta. It just stays there. And I think the spots that I saw from Right from the Heart were in the morning drive, if I remember correctly. And the quality has always been great. The message has always been phenomenal. And I was doing whatever I was doing, getting my son's breakfast, or I was drinking coffee or something. I don't know. And all of a sudden the Easter, and I think you did more than one. I think it wasn't just one spot. I think it was many Easter spots, if I remember right. And for over the years, I've seen Easter spots, different, people have done with their ministries and stuff. And I thought, how in the world Right from the Heart really knocked this out of the park? It was so concise and sharp. I was so proud that the message of Jesus through Right from the Heart was on that platform, 11. And I'm sure you did it on radio and other television stations or whatever. But I was like, if I get a chance, I'm going to tell them I thoroughly enjoyed that. I think you guys did wonderful. Whose idea? That was your idea, wasn't it, Jonathan? I knew that.
So total confession. So at first I'm like, okay, what did we run on Easter? I have trouble remembering 2 days ago, right? There's so much happening in life, but I believe the particular spot that you're referring to is actually something that we came up with in Easter 2021, and just felt like it was still appropriate for this Easter as well. And specifically, it's talking about one of the blessings of life is all of the sounds that we get to hear, like the roar of a crowd or just, a lawnmower or a dog barking.
Yeah.
But pointing out that on the day after Jesus died, there was silence. And that's typically referred to as Silent Saturday there between Friday and Sunday morning. And just, so that there was about 3 or 4 seconds of silence in the radio spot as well as on TV, which, as you guys know, dead air and radio.
Dead air is not a good thing.
Is a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
But we just thought it was a creative way to hopefully, like, it sounds like it was successful in grabbing someone's attention.
Yeah.
Because we have all wrestled with just the silence of God at one time or another. And God, where are you? And I'm crying out, but you're not speaking, or you don't seem to be here. And so for us, it was just a way of kind of letting people know, hey, you're not alone in having that experience. But the good news of Easter, of course, is that, God was working in a way that we couldn't see, that we couldn't hear. And obviously he proved that on Resurrection Sunday. So especially in Easter 2021, still very much into COVID, and of course it's still going on now, but we just felt like that was a way to really hit people where they are and maybe the questions that they're wrestling with. And of course, there's plenty of examples all throughout Scripture of people crying out to God, especially in the Psalms and whatnot, of just experiencing the silence of God. And then ultimately, Jesus experienced that himself when he cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me on the cross?
Mm-hmm.
Talking to Jonathan Munson, the executive director of Right from the Heart. Now, Jonathan, what did you do before coming to Right from the Heart, and how did you get hooked up with Right from the Heart?
Yeah, great question. So I have been in pastoral ministry really for over 20 plus years. So there was a calling on my life. I accepted Christ when I was 14 years old. And then really since I was about 18, my senior year of high school, I knew that God was calling me into ministry. And so I just like to see myself as a servant of the church. Primarily, I was a worship pastor, but always just had a heart for worship and discipleship, and just kind of stepped in and just served the church in any way that I could over the years. Primarily, it was through music, but through discipleship or community outreach or communications, whatever. I was just trying to serve the Lord. And as far as getting connected here at Right from the Heart, that really began way back in my childhood. I grew up a mile and a half or so from Johnson Ferry Baptist Church, where Bryant Wright was the pastor for over 35, 37 years, something like that.
Yeah.
I've been in and out of the Wright family. I've known them since I was like 5 or 6 years old. My family and I started going when Johnson Ferry was in a medical office complex. It's now a massive building on Johnson Ferry Road now. But so I've been on the journey for a long time, grew up there, accepted Christ for that ministry, ultimately came back and served on staff at that church for a while. Served with George. You mentioned George earlier. Served with George out in Ackworth at a church that Johnson Ferry planted called Cedar Crest. So I joke to Bryant that it's my life's ambition to work for him my entire life, and to keep working for every member of his family. So I've worked at Johnson Ferry, then I worked with George out at Cedar Crest, and then now I've been, like we said, July of 2020, been back here at Right from the Heart. But I will say, when Brian and I initially started talking about this, it was a shift because I was so used to serving in the local church, and then to come into the nonprofit world. Initially, it took me some time to process that.
Yeah, I would imagine, right? Jonathan Munson, Executive Director of Right from the Heart. They reach and disciple people through media and do it so well. Jonathan, what are you guys working on now? Projects that you're working on, and I know you work well in advance of whatever is coming out. But what's in the kettle? What's in the kettle?
What's in the kettle? Well, that's a great question. We have been revamping some older spots that Bryant has done years ago that, quite honestly, needed to be revamped. The truth and the message was spot on, but they just needed to be updated. So we're doing some things like that. But also, well, two things are coming to mind. We're doing a whole kind of video series, and as well as adapting it for radio as well, but primarily on video through social media and TV, called What If?
Yeah.
And we're just trying to reach people who perhaps might be skeptical or cynical about the Christian faith, and just provoke a question in their mind, like, what if Jesus is the ultimate source of happiness? What if Jesus really is the water of life? Or we're working on one right now called What If Truth? And what if truth is found in a person, and that it's not relative, it's not just whatever we think it might be, but ultimately Jesus says that he is the truth. And so that's, as you know, counterintuitive and countercultural. And so again, it's a 30-second spot that we hope can just at least get somebody to at least contemplate for a few seconds. Well, what if that's really true? What if the claim of Christ is true? And then, of course, that would change everything.
That's so good.
You said you've been revamping stuff. Obviously, over the years since Right from the Heart started many years ago, things have changed. People used to get everything from radio and TV, but now they get it from all sources nowadays. What kind of different ways are you guys looking at reaching people?
Right. Yeah. So I would say radio and TV is still our core, because there's still a lot of people listening, a lot of people watching. But for example, YouTube, which is nothing new, but it's the second most popular website in the world. So I've come in and just started putting some of the things that you see on TV and just running those as YouTube ads. Our heart is to reach people where they are, and just as they go about everyday life, just with one of those, kind of bite-sized, short, quick, thought-provoking messages of the grace and truth of Christ right where they are. And so one of the ways, obviously, is on YouTube or social media. And then also just, oh my goodness, I have gotten a whole education in Google Ads and just people who are doing digital ministry and who are much further down the road than we are. So just understanding the Google highway and taking the gospel to the Google highway, and again, trying to hit people where they are. And just, so again, I've gotten a brand new education of just how that works and how to be effective and how to word things. And it is a fascinating world that I don't truly understand, but we're doing our best.
Yeah.
And it continues to change, right? I mean, this is something that we're all learning. Even what we're doing the show today, we would not have been able to do that prior
Even
to
a couple of years ago. Yeah.
couple of years ago. So technology changes so fast in the way people can be reached. But we're just so proud of you guys. Thank you for stepping up and stepping out and moving forward in the 21st century and beyond, because the message, what a great message. You guys do such great work. You can go to rightfromtheheart.org or rfth.org. Check them out. And as he mentioned, they're a nonprofit, and I'm sure there are several ways you can help. All kinds of resources there. I was just on the website this morning. All kinds of resources you can check out. I mean, podcasts and videos, etc. So, Jonathan, would love to have you back, and go Dogs there behind you. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure Bryant and George don't say go Dogs. But
probably not. No,
they don't. But fortunately, George has been on the best side of that rivalry now for a majority of years between the Gamecocks and the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs are doing well. So, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you, Jonathan. We'll have to take a break. Let's go. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.